off. An update to a story News Channel 2 first brought you yesterday. The Oneida County Sheriff's Office has finished their investigation into a snowmobile accident on Oneida Lake. According to Sheriff Rob Mashel, 35-year-old Michael Holmes and 29-year-old Brianna Klink were ice fishing when their snowmobile fell through the ice. Luckily, the two riders were able to pull themselves out of the water, and neither one was injured. News Channel 2's Brent Carney joins us now live in the studio with more from the Sheriff's Department on this investigation. Brent, good evening.
Good evening, Caitlin. As you said, thankfully no one was hurt, but I spoke with the Sheriff's Department and they said that this isn't the only dangerous area on the lake.
At night, it all looks the same. But during the day now, you can see the dark area. That's where the water's moving, and it's very thin.
Edward Arcuri knows all too well how dangerous this section of Oneida Lake can be.
This is a very dangerous area. This creek, the Oneida Creek here, is flowing all year long, even through the winter. It'll get iced over. At night, they don't see it or they forget it's there. And it's twice now. I've been here, this will be 2 years now. I've seen every winter, at least one every winter, going into this creek.
The area's latest incident happening on Saturday night. The Oneida County Sheriff's Department says a snowmobile carrying two ice fishermen were trying to get back to shore after it got dark and then fell through the ice.
And they stayed out a little longer than what they probably should have. It got dark. They got turned around. They came this way when they got a little disoriented, looking for some landmarks. And as they were slowing down, before they knew it, they went from snow to the black ice, and they just started breaking through, and it was over at that point.
Luckily, the two riders were able to get themselves out of the water and walk to shore for help. A private towing company who provided us these photos, as well as the DEC, were called out the next morning to remove the sled from the ice.
DEC was with me throughout the time and assured that no fluids had spilled into the lake. None had spilled in. There was no loss of fluids, so from an environmental standpoint, things are pretty good.
Call says there are some things to keep in mind if you do plan on heading out onto the ice.
Definitely, if you're going to go out onto the ice, have some sort of flotation device with you, whether it's an inflatable or whether it's a conventional life jacket. You should be wearing it for situations just like that.
In terms of how thick the ice should be, Call says it's a risk no matter when you go.
You know, there's suggestions, 4 inches, 6 inches, but there's nothing that officially I'm going to tell you that, you know, is safe to go on, because anytime you go on there, it's at your own risk.
And Caitlin, because there are so many creeks and rivers that flow into Oneida Lake, there are a lot more areas that have very thin ice. So just make sure that you know where those are before heading out. In the studio, Brent Carney, News Channel 2.